for about 30 minutes. That was so beautiful. Thank you. Oh, my goodness. Ladies, thank you for your rehearsals, your hard work, your dedication. And Charles, thank you. Yes, thank you. Sharing your gifts with us. I think the thing that and I don't ever want to criticize anyone's beliefs, but the truth is, when we can use our gifts and talents like that for the one love, that was what that just was, that they did that for the one love. It said that love came down at Christmas, and that's what happened. Love was born in a physical form that day to show us what that looks like. And the truth is, though, that some are sitting around waiting for it, prophesying and talking about a second coming, and you better be ready, and you need to be saved, and you need to do this and that and the other. And that's all fine and good. If that works for them, we're glad for that. But I think we're seeing the second coming right now, folks. We don't have to wait for any other apocalypse. I think that we've been given an apocalypse right now. And it's up to us. It's up to us, each and every one of us, to use our gifts and our talents and our voices and our strength and our wisdom. But mostly our love. It's love that allows us to use all of those gifts and talents that we have. And if I'm out picking up litter on the streets, and I have love in my heart, then what I'm doing is just as great as anything that anyone else will ever do. Did you know that? There's no hierarchy in love. No hierarchy at all. We are love. And we had a great teacher. But it's up to us now. We are the second coming, if that's what there is. And so let's exemplify love with whatever we do. Delivering papers on a Sunday. We're delivering love right along with it, aren't we, Roger? Yes, sir. Yeah. Yes. Yes, we are. Repairing roofs. We certainly are teaching children, teaching adults. Whatever it is we're meant to do. So we're talking today about God's love made visible. Mother Teresa once referred to herself as a pencil in the hand of a writing God. Isn't that nice? Can you think of something you've done this week? Maybe you've done many things that you consider that you were the pencil in the hand of a writing God. I know that you have, and that you do every day. So we're all sending love letters to the world. I hope that's what we're doing. I was reminded of this recently when I heard that teachers at a local high school were collecting funds to purchase glasses for a student who couldn't see well enough to read the text. That's love. I remembered it when a friend told me that a local church was looking for volunteers to work in an inner city soup kitchen. That's love too. I remembered it when Miss Nay asked us would we help her. She has such a big heart. And she wants to distribute gifts to neighborhood children that are in families so poor we can't even conceive of it. And these children are hungry. And they need Christmas too, don't they, Miss Nay? And thank you. Thank you for being a pencil in the hand of a writing God. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Now, I saw this morning that a man in Florida paid the overdue electric bills for 114 people. Wow. And a quick calculation will tell you that's at least, $12,000, right? I just did that in my head. Hope that's kind of right. That's love. People he doesn't know. That's love. We remember it in so many ways. We remembered it last month, didn't we, after the hurricane and all the people that came from all the neighboring states, from states all over, to help restore our electricity. And how grateful we were for that. That's love. That's exactly what love is. Kindness never goes away, but it seems as if we get more into the act at Christmas time, don't we? We're reminded. The light of God's love, though always present and expressing, seems to glow brighter at this time of year. Perhaps that's because we have the celebration of all that is, and we want to act out our true nature of love. And as it was once said, the outdoor Christmas lights, green, red, and gold, and blue, twinkling, remind me that most people are that way all year round. They're kind. They're generous. They're friendly. And with an occasional moment of ecstasy. And maybe that's what we save Christmas for, those moments of ecstasy. And we refer to this seasonal explosion of generosity as the Christmas spirit, as it swells and bursts forth during this entire season. It's God's love in us, which finds expression through us, ignites our joy, and it flows through us and delights recipients. Isn't that sweet? Isn't that sweet? There was a Catholic priest named Sean O'Kelly. He was a redhead and always seemed to have a smile on his face and a twinkle in his eyes. He spoke with a heavy Irish brogue because he had only been in America 3 years. While he was in school, he was also pastoring a Catholic church in the heart of Newark, New Jersey. If you want to talk about urban blight and poverty and hunger, all you have to do is take a trip up and down the streets of some parts of Newark, and you'll find it. On one occasion, he heard of a family in the parish that was hungry because of a foul-up somehow. There was a mother with 5 small children, and they had no food and no hope of getting any food until the end of the month. And although they were not Catholic, Sean O'Kelly went to the grocery store and he bought a supply of groceries. He didn't care. He didn't even care if they didn't have any faith. He had enough faith for all of them. He didn't care. So he bought 3 full sacks, and he went to the apartment building where the family lived. And after carrying the groceries up 4 flights of stairs and walking down a long hall, he came to the apartment. He rang the doorbell. Little boy, about 7 years old, answered the door. He looked at Father O'Kelly's clerical collar and the sack of groceries, and then he screamed at his mother, "Mama, Mama, come quick. It's Jesus, and he brought us some food." Oh, Don't you just wish you could be Jesus to another person, a family in need? Well, you can and you do. And I know each and every one of you here, and I know you do that and every day. I know you do that in every way. And telling later about that incident, Sean said, "I will never forget that child's comment. At that moment, I realized that I was indeed the Christ for a hungry child." So if we're to be neighbors that God calls us to be, we need to understand that we are a pencil in the hand of a writing God, just like Sean delivering that food to a hungry family. It's hard for most of us to imagine a family of a mother who has no money and 5 hungry children and no hope of getting food. No hope. Amazing, huh? We know that there are those in the community, and we want to do our part. And you know the opportunities for service in our community are endless. We know that. So many ways. So let's think a moment about the how, the what, the how, the why, and the when of love. We talked about love a few moments ago. What is love? What exactly is love? We know in Unity that Charles Fillmore explained what he called the 12 powers. We now call them 12 attributes because we know there is one power. And so then what is love? I know that Charles Fillmore said that it is that one thing that can reside within each one of us that allows us to see the best in everything and everyone. Okay, he went a little bit further and he said, and it's a description that's sort of similar to what they call the law of attraction now, but which is a good thing. Those of you that practice it, go ahead and practice it. Whatever it is that you do that brings good and love into your life, you do it. But Charles Fillmore said that love is the radiating force within you that will bring you to what you love. And so instead of, like the law of attraction, it says it will bring your good to you, his description was just a bit different. And I like to think of that because I like to think of the heart as the seat of our passion. And of course, they talked about the passion of the Christ, and he indeed was, this person, Jesus, was so passionate about what he was teaching that it was contagious. So he had such a passion in his heart for the love from the source from whence he came, that it was just sort of automatic that he radiated out this love. And it went before him. All this love. So that's what love is. Love is a force. It's an attribute. It's a power. So how do we do it? Just the way I just said. Be willing. Be willing to change your mind, maybe. Be willing to see things differently. I have found, especially during this difficult time and this challenge over the last few months with everything that's going on, not only with COVID, I have found the pandemic actually to be quite easy as compared to watching what's going on about the election and the aftermath and the hatred, resentment, and all the things, fear, all the things that are flowing right along with it. I found the pandemic to be easy to watch compared to that. So, what do we do? What is love? What's love in this situation? Love is, and let me tell you, I haven't let it drag me in. I've just found it a little bit harder to stay above it. I have had to pray a little bit more and to allow love to really, really radiate from my heart. Really, really. And when we do that, we see there's a forgiving place in us. And instead of saying, how could you do that? You look and say, what is it that's happened to you that allowed that pain? What is it that's happened there? So you look with compassion and love. Love is compassion. And so what is love? How do you do it? You rise above. Imagine yourself with that hot air balloon if you need to. Rising above. Rise above. Rise above it. And look with the eyes of love. The eyes of the Christ. That's how we do that. Why? Because we've been called to. It's simple. We've been called to. We're awakening, and we've been called to open our hearts and open our minds. And the first thing we're often asked to do is be willing to see things differently. Here's the box that I was told I was supposed to be in all my life. My family thought this all their lives, and I'm going to follow that no matter what, by golly, because they taught me that. What if they were wrong? So the first tip is to be willing to see things differently. That's the how. Why? Because we've been called. We've been called. If you've had an inkling, if you're here at Unity, you've been called. You've been called to a higher consciousness. You've been called to a higher love. And I would just say, be willing to let go of anything that's holding you back. And when? Now? This moment? The next moment? Every moment from here on in. Use love. Let that be who you are. So how can we become an expression of love? Allow love to change your life and the world around you. It can become your aura. You can walk into someone else's space and they can feel the difference. They can feel love that just entered the room. Would you like to be that powerful? You can, and you probably already are. You know how that feels. You know how it feels to be in a room and someone that's angry walks in. You know how it feels, right? We all know how that feels. Okay, you feel that. You can feel love just as easily. You can carry that with you wherever you go. Allow love to expand your entire being, just as the Christed one did. He was called. Maybe he came too soon, I don't know. But we had his example. He said, what I do, you can do. What I do, you can do. You're the light of the world. Nothing vague about that, is there? We can be that. We can do that. Allow love to sweep away your fears and to truly forgive. And what is forgiveness? As I said a moment ago, forgiveness is not saying, what'd you do to me? And I'm going to be angry about that forever. It's finally finding the place within you where you can say, what was the wound within you that made you act that way? Then you can forgive. That's true forgiveness. Allow love to radiate your good back to you. See, there's the good thing about this. Did you know that? You're doing it because you want to be a benevolent person. You want the world to be gentler, kinder. You want good to be out there. You just wait till you become love and you allow the riches to come back to you. You just wait. As Maxine, our little lady, she's not here this morning, but she has a saying, you can't outgive God. She says that whatever she gives, and she gives generously, let me tell you, she'd be angry with me if I said that, but she's not here, so I can talk about it. But she gives very generously, many, many causes. But she says the amazing thing about it, whatever she gives, it doubles back into her checking account. And I know it does, because I've seen that happen. I've had it happen myself. You cannot outgive love, okay? You cannot. Allow love to expand you, inform you, guide you. It can be your guide. What would love do now? Ask yourself these questions. What would love do now? You may think you're in the middle of a problem and you cannot decide how to handle it. Allow love to help you make that decision. What would love do now? And that's not always, it's not always saying yes to everybody, is it? Because as parents, some of us know, and teachers, and just having made it this far in life, we know that sometimes saying yes to people isn't the best thing for them or our children. And sometimes no is the most loving answer. So we take it to a higher power, love, ask for guidance. What would love think now? If I'm having a pretty unloving thought, how could I change that to be a loving thought at this morning? You know, you may even think in the middle of a conversation, you might be right. You might be right. What would love think at this moment? What would love feel now? There you go. There's the big one, okay? There's the big one. What would love feel now? We were talking about that with music. Music is love and expression. What would love feel right now? If you're asking yourself a question, how would I feel if I knew that I was making a loving decision at this moment? I'd feel at peace. I'd go within, and in my heart, I would know that love just made this decision. And sometimes, now you know me, this is not something I need to do. Am I able to soften my stance? Because I came into the world to be gentle and soft, and that's sort of who my being is. So that's easy for me. But I would ask some of you, if you have a harder time softening your stance, am I able to soften my stance at this moment? Do I need to be in control? Do I always need to control the situation? What would love do now in this? And as you know, and as we teach here, we teach responsibility. You have a choice in every moment. So I have so many stories of examples. I could go on all day, but I wouldn't. Of how love expresses. We know how it expresses. It expresses as a man that's had 2 hip replacements and a knee replacement, to scramble up an escalator to grab a fearful child that's gotten stuck. It expresses as a man that stops on the street because a woman is trapped under a car that's had an accident and she's fearful and afraid, and he holds her hand, and she never knows who that person was. That was love too. So I just encourage you this morning to be the Christed one. Let us be the anointed one, the Christed one. We are anointed, you know, with the love of the Christ. We can be anointed any moment to go out, to be the pencil in the hand of a writing God. I hope you'll do that